He was very talented. He was a very good artist.
He was always drawing and looking at colors and seeing them in better vision than anybody I've ever met.
His terrific paintings historically are important.
I'm sorry Ken left us so young.
Ken keeps surprising me on a regular basis. My name is Hannah Palin. I am a moving image archivist, and I am also the caretaker of Kenneth Showell's collection.
Squeeze out a bunch of paint, start 6 or 7 paintings in a week, and that gives me the fodder to play with.
Ken was an abstract expressionist painter who fell into a small art movement called Lyrical Abstraction.
We decided that minimalism was not enough, and we were expanding the meaning. Ken Showell made innovations, Dan Christiansen made innovations. Our generation added new directions, and a lot of us are underappreciated.
Kenny was always really fascinated by color, and that was kind of his hallmark, is the use of color and putting different colors together.
He was able to combine more colors together in a softer fashion or a lyrical fashion. He just went and took it and went with it.
New York City was a small artist community at the time, and he was kind of a connector in a way, and would keep people up to date about who was doing what and what they were painting and what they were working on. People knew him, people loved him. And he was affable and friendly and light and made jokes. And I just find that so interesting because that's not the guy I had in my head. Ken was I've come to call him my biological father. He and my mother met in art school and had me, but they divorced when I was about 4. So, and then last time I saw him I was 8, and that was kind of it. My memory is that it was May 10th, 1997. It was a Saturday morning, and I get a phone call from my Uncle Don, and he said that Kenny had passed away. And it was such a strange moment to realize that this person that I never knew, really didn't know much about, was no longer on the planet. My Uncle Don was like, well, it's all yours now. I didn't understand what that meant, that I owned Ken's work. I didn't know anything really, other than Ken was a painter. He had a Hi8 camera. So after he died, I got possession of the camera.
I'm here in New York City. It's October 5th, and I haven't really marked this on the tape yet, but I'm here to take part in my biological father's memorial showing of his artwork. Friday, ran around the city, well, kind of wandered around the city, looking for places to buy napkins and wine and cheese because I'm catering the opening. Wouldn't you know it?
I am.
You're a Showell?
I am a Showell. This is his camera, and that's Kenny's camera.
George, you're about to be on tape.
It's wonderful to be on everyone's shit list.
You know, this is Kenny's camera.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's wonderful to be loved. And we all love Kenny. Not all the time.
Not every minute.
I have to say that I feel like Kenny is in this camera.
A lot of people were like, oh, I remember you when you were 4. Oh yeah, I remember when going over to the studio and seeing you there, and that's so great. And yeah, and that was the first time I really had a connection to Ken and his life.
I just want to thank you all for showing up and for paying tribute to him and to paying tribute to his life's obsession in his work because it's gorgeous. And I guess that's all. But thank you.
As we started talking, it turns out that because Ken made his living as an art photographer, he knew everybody. When he started taking photographs of other people's work, he made a decent living and realized he didn't have to go out and hustle. So he didn't. He just painted. And he painted what he wanted to paint. He painted what excited him.
At a certain point, I just sort of said, oh, the hell with it. It doesn't make any difference whether anyone sees them or not, because it's all about me making them anyway.
He enjoyed the process of creating outdoors. And he found a way to replicate that when he started bringing a Hi8 camera to Central Park. If he painted from a photograph, it's still, everything's fixed, whereas he's painting from videotape, so it moves all the time. So as a result, those paintings have this sense of motion in them that gives them a little bit of extra energy that I don't think they would have otherwise. As he went on and developed his work, he experimented with a lot of different styles, and by the end of his life, he was actually mostly focusing on landscapes and still lifes, which wasn't quite as shiny, but they certainly are beautiful.
This is WNYC AM and FM, New York Public Radio, 606.
In my mind, I painted a picture of this guy who was a loner, just painted all the time. He's kind of a loser because he couldn't sell his paintings. He was miserable, kind of dark, and just locked in his studio. None of those things are true. Ken was a person. He was a human. He made choices. Some of them were good, some of them not so good. But it's that thing that happens when you're looking at your parent as a kid and when you look at your parent as an adult, and then you see them as a full-bodied, fleshed-out person and somebody who is trying to make their way in the world, but also a full-bodied creative person. Somebody who was so laser focused on what made him happy and what brought him joy. And that was okay. It didn't make for a great husband or a great father, but it really made for a great human, for somebody that was really interested in technique and how to make things. I am so sorry that we missed each other in this life. That makes me so sad. Because having learned more about him, I just really wish I could have had a conversation with him and really talked to him about what his experience was and who he was. And I don't know, just hung out and had a beer or two. That would have been really nice. Seeing his work all together on a wall, it felt like the culmination of so many things, but it also feels like the beginning of so many things. And so many possibilities can open up now that the work has seen the light of day. So that's really exciting for me.